We are at day 142. We've got 1 Kings chapter 8, 2 Chronicles 5, Psalm 99, and Romans 3. So we now are moving the Ark of the Covenant that has the stone tablets of Moses into the temple. Solomon leads the people in a number of sacrifices and much worship of God, both at the site of the ark and as it's moved into the temple, and then once they are in the temple. There's a very long prayer of blessing from Solomon for the people and to God. In the prayer to God, Solomon is asking for God to care for the people, to listen to the people, to forgive God's people, to train God's people. Chronicles has a very similar worship celebration of moving the ark into the temple, but there is not all these long prayers. So the First Kings reading is much longer than the Chronicles reading. So one of the questions as I read through this today, I was wondering, how do we come before God in worship today? Do we pour our heart out like Solomon does? Do we make the same type of commitment through sacrifices and through time and worship? Do we pray for our churches and communities with the same passion that Solomon shows here? Now, Christianity continues this tradition of community that we see here in ancient Israel. Jesus isn't just calling us to personal holiness, but also to social holiness. It's not just about one person making it into heaven, but it's one person coming to receive the forgiveness of God, but then showing God's grace to the people around them, to building up a whole community that is living in God's way and God's mercy and grace. Psalm 99 continues the praise and worship theme of Psalm 98. It reminds us of the faithfulness and spiritual practices of Moses and Aaron and Samuel and inspires us to follow in their footsteps. It calls us to keep worshiping God and turning our hearts and minds to God. Romans 3, Paul is continuing on this theme of what is the role of religious life compared to our spiritual connection to God. And we do need to be careful in this chapter and throughout Romans, because sometimes Paul sounds very harsh and it seems like he's really singling out the Jewish people for falling short. And some Christians have used this to continue to persecute Jews even into our day today. Paul was Jewish. He was speaking to his companions, his neighbors. He's calling them to live into the spirit of God's law and not just follow the letter of God's law. Paul makes it clear that we are all sinners, not just the Jewish people, but everyone sins and everyone falls short of God's plan for everyone. So we all need the forgiveness of Jesus, and Jesus offers forgiveness and mercy to everyone, Jewish and not Jewish. God brings judgment. It's not our job to do the judging. Once again, Paul talks about this. God's full plan is revealed in Jesus, and Jesus is the full embodiment of the law that Moses gave us. And so following Jesus gives us a better understanding of what God was trying to explain through the law of Moses. And so Jesus is a better way to understand what God is really trying to do in the world. Mercy is found through Jesus' sacrifice. And so as we finish this chapter, we need to really think about what it means that God is the God of all. We can all receive grace and mercy through Jesus, but that means when we are in our spiritual practices, are there ever times that we are excluding certain groups of people for whatever reason? Maybe we don't build our buildings in such a way that they're family friendly or kid friendly, or maybe there are accessibility issues for people that are not as mobile as other people. There are many ways that we often exclude people, and we need to be careful that we always hold on to the value that God is the God of everyone and that there is a place for everyone in God's faith family. Enjoy today, and we'll see you next time.